Hi, today we're making an old-fashioned sauerkraut utilizing a probiotic-rich fermentation method. We're going to take this big bowl of cabbage and process it down into sauerkraut using just a couple of ingredients. This process is going to create a really healthy, probiotic-rich, good for your gut product that you can use for many, many months once it's done. For the ingredients, we have cabbage, peppercorn, salt, and caraway seeds. So for the salt, the one important thing to note is that it must be either a sea salt or a mine salt. It can't be an iodized table salt. That salt is dead and it's not going to do anything for your ferments. So we're going to need a few tools for this project today. First, we have a mandolin. This is going to help you with slicing your cabbage, getting an even and consistent slice throughout all of your cabbage so that your kraut is the same texture and consistency. I have a chainmail glove. This helps protect my hand because I can't be trusted when using a mandolin. This is optional. It's not optional for me. I have tried to take fingertips off before. We're going to need a crock or a large jar. You just need a large jar with a loose lid that you can kind of tie on a little bit but leave just a little bit of space. Or in my case, we have a water seal crock so that you're actually going to have a little bit of water poured across the top here, and that's going to help gases escape from your fermentation but keep pests out of your food. You'll need a large knife, weights. These are weights that are specifically meant for a crock. You're going to go in and sit on top of your veg and keep everything below the water line. You don't want anything coming above the water line. It'll spoil your food. A pounder, exactly what it sounds like. It's for mashing down and pounding the cabbage. It's going to help express some of the water that's inside the cabbage, and it's also going to help us to put the cabbage inside of the crock and really mash it down. We want to get as much oxygen out of the cabbage as possible and keep everything below that water line. And then lastly, a kitchen scale. You have to know how much cabbage by weight you're putting in your crock so that you know how much salt to mix with your cabbage. So really, even though you may not truly need it, I feel that it is a necessity. Always weigh your cabbage before salting. Okay, so we've gotten all the cabbage sliced up and we're ready to salt it. We've got to weigh it out first in order to get the right salt to cabbage ratio. Too much salt, you're going to have a really salty sauerkraut. Too little salt, and you're not going to have the right amount of salt to bacteria ratio in order for you to have a really good sour ferment. Otherwise, it'll just go bad and you'll have a really nasty, mushy sauerkraut. So, let's get this weighed. So I'm gonna zero. I already have the tare weight to this. 153 ounces. Okay. So I'm gonna take that, minus off the 16 ounces for the weight of the bowl. That's 137 ounces. So 137 ounces times 2%. You're going to need 2.74 ounces of salt. So that's what we're going to add. Probably going to go just a touch over. Yeah. So when you reweigh, 0 and salt. It's a really big bowl. 7, is going to actively bring out the liquid within the cabbage. The cabbage has got all that water in it, it's predominantly water. It's going to pull that out. We're going to let it sit for about 30 minutes after massaging it. Use clean hands. Okay, so I've been pounding at this for about 15 minutes. What I'm looking for, and if you'll come in close, I'm looking for liquid to start pooling at the bottom of the bowl. So you can already see it's pooling right there. So let's just scrape this back a little bit. Oh, that's looking great. All of that liquid's what's gonna seal off the cabbage in the crock, and it's gonna sit at the top, creating sort of a layer. It's keeping the oxygen away from the cabbage. That looks wonderful. So this has sat for about 20 minutes in this bowl. You can really see that the liquid has been released, and I really feel like we have enough liquid to go ahead and add our seasonings and crock up our cabbage. So let's add some seasoning. Okay, so let's put the ingredients in. So I have about 13 pounds of finished out sauerkraut or cabbage here. And so I tend to put about a half a teaspoon of peppercorns and a tablespoon of peppercorns and a half a tablespoon of caraway seed per 5 pounds. I have 13, so I'm gonna do a tablespoon and a half. More is more. About a half. Okay, so let's mix this up. We're gonna take, once this is thoroughly mixed, we're gonna take this and start putting it in our crock. Don't think it's gonna all fit in this one, so I do have an extra that I may have to utilize. Once we put this in the crock, we're gonna top it off with some of these large cabbage leaves. I took these from the outside before I started slicing. We're gonna set them on top, put the weights in, and the desire is to have the liquid come up to the very top, covering everything but the weights. As long as we've got enough liquid in there, it will turn out perfectly. I feel like this is pretty good mixed in here. And we can go ahead and crock it up. Okay, so I've filled up the crock to about this height. So just about an inch away from the top. I'm doing that to, one, allow for a little room for the liquid to cover, room for my leaves to sit on top, and then room for the weights to sit on top of that. So let's go ahead and put these in, get this crocked up. Once it's crocked up, it'll sit for about 4 to 6 weeks. You can start testing it at 1 week if you so desire to have a really light fermented flavor. I prefer about 4 to 6 weeks. That's what seems to give it that true old-fashioned sauerkraut flavor that you're really looking for. It's great on brats. So we're gonna go ahead and get this crocked up and put her to bed for about 4 to 6 weeks. Okay, we're done. So 4 to 6 weeks, it sits in the crock. I'll probably start testing it at about 4 weeks. I want to make sure I get that good, warm, fermented, full-bodied sour flavor. Once we're done and we uncrock it, I'll take it out of the crock. I'll put them into these large wide-mouth mason jars. And I actually thought it a worthy purchase to get some of these springs on the inside. You can get them with the jar and the lid. Absolutely a worthy purchase. This helps keep the sauerkraut fresh and underneath the liquid when you put this in the fridge, and it'll hold for, you can keep this for up to a year. It really will continue to develop flavor after the fermentation process will slow down once it goes into the refrigerator. So it will continue to develop a flavor or fuller bodied sourness, but I think it gets better with age. So you'll eat it up before it ever thinks about going bad. I will say I've never kept any past a year, but I've been told that it can keep for longer than that. I hope you guys will give this a try. If you do, please let us know. I would love to see how it works out for you. I will say we prefer to use red cabbages. Purple's just more fun to eat. So y'all have a good one. Thanks.